between the Minister for Trade and Industry, Governor Tahir Hammond, and the Minority Caucus over an attempt to lay before the House the legislative instrument seeking to restrict the importation of selected strategic products into the country. The minority raised concerns on the lack of quorum and consensus to have the LI laid. There is more in the following report.
On Thursday, parliamentary proceedings saw the suspension of the laying of the Exports and Imports Regulations 2023. The legislative instrument aims to restrict the importation of 22 selected strategic goods, including rice, poultry, and sugar. The minority raised concerns about the Minister of Trade and Industry, Citi Hammond, failing to engage their apprehensions regarding the legislative instrument LI. In a subsequent attempt to lay the LI on Friday, the minister faced objections from the minority, leading to a heated exchange between Minister Citi Hammond and the caucus.
Mr. Speaker, there must be a roadmap. Mr. Speaker, there must be a roadmap. The buffer store cannot even provide food for school feeding. You cannot even provide food for free SHS. Schools are being closed down for lack of food staff. And you are the very person who is saying that, Mr. Speaker, we should bring such an instrument in the form of ambushing the House. I want to conclude by making a passionate appeal to the leadership, political leadership, and to your good self that we must not ambush the Speaker in this way. He has utmost trust in you and has given the seat to you. We must not treat him this way.
They have no say in whether an ally is laid in this House or not. No one, not even with respect to the Speaker. The Speaker has absolutely no right over whether a legislative instrument is laid in this House. That is the Constitution. All this threat, all this fact about if the Speaker has a right in you, has whatever in you. Mr. Speaker, it is revolting for them to suggest that they are here to represent the good people of Ghana. You think we are here to represent the bad people of whatever country? What the hell are you talking about? We, Mr. Speaker, have all been...
Mr. Minister,
I would rather, in deference to my colleagues, Mr. Speaker, I would rather. Mr. Speaker, but we have all been voted for to represent the good people of this country. We, as executive, take the view that it is in the interest of the country that we bring this. If we lay it, and in the end, Mr. Speaker, in the end, the House by a two-thirds majority wants to annul it, so be it. But it doesn't sit in the mouth of any particular person here to say that they would not allow us, Mr. Speaker, to do what we intend to do. And Mr. Speaker.
Minister, thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, he talks about economics. When I was at school, Mr. Speaker, I wrote economic exams and my teacher gave me 38 over 40. 38 over 40. But even I don't talk the way he's talking about. And let's get to the law. I don't take legal lessons from him. Because I am a British trained barrister at law. I don't take that from him. I do know very well, Mr. Speaker, about the World Trade Organization rules. And we have taken that very much into account before we drafted this regulation. Mr. Speaker, constitutionally,
Honourable Minister,
to lay this, and we beseech you to allow us to raise
Honourable Minister,
and it is not within the ambit of those on this side, Mr. Speaker, to prevent a constitutionally properly prepared document to be laid in this House. Mama fans.
Later, the minority addressed journalists, emphasizing the necessity of standing down the LI until the country achieves self-sufficiency. They also expressed worry about the substantial authority the minister would gain with the passage of the LI.
What he's saying is that all these items that I've listed, 1 to 23, before you import them, you have to go and see him in chambers. And two, you will need to apply for import permit. Import permit. And when the permit is granted, a committee that will be established, when the committee grants that permit, going forward, it is only the minister who can renew the permit. And the same minister can cancel that permit. We think they are giving too much powers to the minister responsible for trade and industry. You see, this is not the first time Ghana is going to go through import permit regime. It has happened before. The history is there to guide us. In 1967, Justice Olenu's report was clear on the matter. A Champon regime, it happened. This is what brought Kalabule. So what is happening is, under Liman Kalabule regime, this is what brought Kalabule. So President Kufuor and Vice President Bawumia is bringing Kalabule back.
Powers is being given to the minister. We need to look at the provisions in the regulation. Which section of the regulation confirms that? If it is the case, we can look at it. I do not subscribe to that school of thought that excessive powers should be given to the minister. It must be said in context. So if we get to that point, or if the engagement is going to continue, we can take it clause by clause or section by section and be able to deal with that. So that for me is a non-starter. Then there are difficulty in raising two-thirds. Everybody knows. You have been in this house for a long time. You know it is difficult. That is why we have to approach this matter as a unit entity and as a house. If one section says that, okay, because I'm not having my way and therefore we will not get it done, we will not be making progress as a country. Let's allow logic, reason, patriotism to lead the way. And if these characteristics and elements lead the way, we as a country will be winning together.
The 2024 debate continued on Friday, featuring the 24-hour economy policy of the former President John Dramani Mahama.
Mr. Speaker, I want to ask them, when we went on lockdown and they were still receiving their salaries, when we went on lockdown and they enjoyed free electricity, when we went on lockdown and they enjoyed free water, where did they expect the government to get money to pay for this? It was that money that we used to pay. And today we are asking you to pay back. You are complaining that how come that you gave us for free and we have to pay for it? Who do you want to pay for it? Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker. Because they had free, they thought the government was Professor Diego. So he would just conjure and Sikagari will come. Government doesn't do Sikagari. Government will have to take the money from you and I to run this economy. And that's exactly what we are doing. How long ago was the Liberia War? But today, when you are calculating free trade from anywhere in the world to Liberia, there's a company called War Risk Surcharge. War Risk Surcharge, after 20-something years in Liberia, we are still paying. Why? Because they have to reap whatever they lost when the war was on. Mr. Speaker, the 24-hour economy is already existent with us. Ghana is already experiencing this 24-hour economy due to the magnanimity and the intelligence of Dr. Bawumia. Let me ask you a question, Mr. Speaker. I was there once with one of my colleagues here, and he had a phone call. At 9 p.m., he had a phone call from his caretaker that, Honorable, the electricity, the bill, whatever, the charge is off, is finished. He said, oh, give me 5 minutes, I'll get back to you. In front of me, he bought electricity charge and sent the diggers to the mason to go and install. Is that not 24-hour economy? It is. Mr. Speaker, today, even in some areas, you need to use some digital mechanisms to get water flowing through your taps. Is that not 24-hour economy? We were in this country. People will have their electricity being disconnected physically. Why? Because they have not paid their bill. And if this is not 24-hour economy, what economy are you talking about? You are trying to find new ways to justify digital economy, and you are using 24-hour economy. Please, just say you are also going to bring digital economy, then we understand. We are already enjoying our 24-hour economy. You are not going to do anything about it. And I can tell you that when Dr. Bawumia becomes the president in 2025, we'll even do better than what we have done now.
When His Excellency John Mahama said 24-hour economy, he simply was calling for a turn around, a change in attitude, and a change in the way we do things in Ghana, including access to public services and public goods. He was not talking about chop bar operators at midnight, leaving their fufu, their toes on. The Speaker, he was talking about a monumental change in the way we do things. and that any public good or public service that any Ghanaian is entitled to, the 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. should not be an impediment to the attainment of it. And by that, he will be addressing unemployment. A lot more people will be employed. They will be given assurances to work overnight. Mr. Speaker, that is what happens in many other civilized jurisdictions.